So, welcome back to ZBrush. It's time to get our hands dirty. This is the time where we have to take clay and make something out of it. This is the time to, okay, forget it. Alright, so welcome to ZBrush. So the first thing we want to do is import our character. So we want to come here. Remember, like I said, it's going to be, you'll understand these things as we use them. So you click on import. Let's find it. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Let's find this is here. Export it. Yay. And boom, it has been applied though. This is it here. Remember, we have to draw it now. So boom, just draw it somewhere there. Click on edit and we have it. So you have to hold down your control. Here you hold down control, your alt to pan in, or you just kukuma do it here. Move it down here. Alright, zoom in, move it down. Again. So we now have our character in ZBrush. Alright, you see how fast it is. You see the active point is just 5,000, active point, just over 5,000 active point. So by the time we are done, let me let you into some, let me give you a heads up. By the time we are done sculpting this character according to a reference image we'll be using, this will be over 5 million. Do you want to bet? Yeah, and it will be really heavy and it will be highly detailed because we'll be adding a few details to this character. Alright, so let's get our hands dirty. But before we do that, let's add in the image reference. I usually use references for my sculpting. I must always use reference. I'm not God that I can imagine what someone would look like and just start sculpting, which that is good. I mean, I really applaud people who do that, just start creating things from there. But I usually feed my mind with reference images of what people's nose look like, what people's eyes look like, what people's ears look like. Right? But for this particular course, I'll be using a real life reference. I'll be using my image so that because majority of you want to sculpt from an image, not like from a character or maybe cartoon concept art. Excuse me. You want to sculpt from an image. Right, so I'll be using an image for this particular lesson. Yeah, so the goal, remember, the goal is to maintain this, flow, this polygon, maintain the number of vertices or active points in this mesh while we add in the details, and at the end of the day, export it to Blender and animate. It's gonna be fun, right? So let's get ready to get our hands dirty. So in the next lesson, as a matter of fact, let's just let's just add in the reference image we'll be using in this lesson. Alright, so how do we do that? Remember, spotlight. Let's go to textures and add import. We just click on import, training. So this is the image I'll be using. So what I did with this image, I just took a few images together. So it has been added actually. So go back to textures. This is it here. So what I did, I just went to Photoshop. I just put them and formed a collage of these images just to get a different angle of my face, maybe front view, side view. I know how my back view is. I have a flat head, so I will know how to add that as we sculpt. All right, so I'll just click that and look for add spotlight and add it here. So it adds here, and when it comes in, it's really big. So we want to find scale. So this button here is to scale. Just click and drag it to scale. So click and drag the image here on the side. It's showing in transparent, which is cool. Opacity, you will want it to show full or be reduced. It's up to you. Sometimes I like leaving it at almost full opacity so I'll actually see the face properly. So there are different other tools here. You can also choose to delete here. So I haven't really used all these, right? So I'll usually use the pin spotlight, so it pins at the location. So I want to select that. All right, so there's the opacity, there's the scale, and there's the rotate. I don't want to use that. So there's the scale. Remember, scale to rotate, to scale it, your reference image. I sent it to you too, so you can also find it in the download it, from the package. Then there's the spotlight opacity, just increase and reduce opacity. Then that's it. But if I come here and click now, you see that this my icon follows me. So that's not what I want. So come and click back here. So what I want to press is Z. If I click Z, that icon disappears. But the thing is, if I start sculpting, I can't really sculpt on this right now because this spotlight is now an overlay. So what I want to do is deactivate it, right? So I'll come to color, come to brush, come to sample, and deactivate spotlight projection, so that I'll be able to actually, sculpt on my character. So I'll Ctrl Z that immediately. That's not what I want to do. So I actually, got rid of my character. So I just Ctrl Shift Z to return it back to the last undo history. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So in the next lesson, we are going to get the forms of my head. That's what we want to do at first. We are not sculpting anything first. You want to get the shape, right? It's anatomy, right? So for this, the anatomy has already been set for you. You may not have to, mess with the anatomy of this face. You just have to adjust the shape to just get the shape of my face here. I have a long oval. Is it oval? I have a long face, right? So we want to get that shape you get of this face shape from my reference here to this character without messing with the facial anatomy. Now, because you don't want to do that, because it's more like you're like a doctor, or you don't want to mess with this. If not, you're going to have a weird character at the end of the day. So in the next lesson, we're going to get the form of the face, at least get the form of the face as we go. We now sculpt in the meat, try to get the eyes, try to get it as close to this character as possible. So that's the goal for this particular one. While maintaining this, we'll keep increasing the detail level, or you can call it the subdivision level, so that you can have more room to sculpt on this character. So like I said, you'll better understand it as we use them. I hope I'm not confusing you. Well, like I said, you'll better understand it as we get to use these tools. I don't want to bore you with too many jargons. So right now this brush size is too big. I want to come here and reduce the brush to this. So it's up to you, depending on where you want to sculpt. So at some point you may want to reduce the brush size as low as possible, right? So that's pretty much it. I like leaving it maybe as a 17 or something. So in the next lesson, we're going to get the form, see how we get the form of this face. So see you in the next lesson. Bye.